Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special edition of what I like to call Shut the FUD Up. That's what we're going to be doing from now on. I'm going to be finding all the FUD that I can on this ecosystem, this Richard Hart ecosystem, or really just crypto in general, I think. I'm going to look for all the FUD that I can here, and I'm going to tear it to shreds. Because I'm telling you, I've said it once, I've said it a million times. If you are investment literate, you cannot help but be extremely bullish right now. If you're not super bullish, you're just not investment literate. I hate to be so blunt. I hate to be a jerk about it. I hate to be condescending. I hate to sound like an elitist or Mr. Smarty Pants know-it-all, but it's just damn true at this point here. If you are bearish right now, you're very, very illiterate. And yesterday, we heard from a very bearish member of the PulseChain HEX community who wants you to believe that it's doomed, wants you to believe that maybe it does go up a little bit, but it's not going to go up that much, and it's all Richard Hart's fault. And we should all just pull the plug on him, or we should all just tweet spam him and demand that he act, because that is entirely the purpose of crypto, is have somebody buy your bag. Have somebody do all the action. That's entirely the purpose of it, especially HEX. I mean, it wasn't invented to get rid of no middleman. No. It was invented specifically just to be the little seesaw that gets pushed up and down by one guy, right? It's invented to be totally dependent on what the founder does. No. Have you learned nothing? I mean, you say that you watched all of Hart's streams. Did you learn nothing from them? Now, I understand your mindset. So I'd like to speak directly to Mr. Jim Rat Crypto, because I'll tell you what, guys. I don't enjoy doing this. I do not enjoy ripping on someone or highlighting their mistakes or making them look stupid. I mean, really, I don't have to. He made himself look stupid in this debate several times. But this needs to be done. And I'll explain why this needs to be done. Now, Jim Rat, if I can speak directly to you, I understand why you're so upset. You wish Richard would come out fighting like he's supposed to, like he has done in the past. You wish that he would come out and defend himself, because you're tired of doing all the heavy lifting of defending the guy. I mean, one, you don't have to defend the guy, because we're not investing in Richard Hart, the man. We're investing in his projects, and those projects would go on whether he was doing anything or not. If he died tomorrow, these things would still go on, and they could still be something. So why you think you need to defend Mr. Hart here makes no sense to me. And when you're talking about defending the project, well, I can't defend the projects because the price turns down. I'm going to rip that apart a little bit later today here. But here's the thing. I understand why you're so upset, because I've been there. I'm going to have a little embarrassing confession here for you. Back in 2012, told y'all a little bit about my past before. This was like before I was cleaning carpets here and everything. But back in 2012, I was young and really dumb and believed that I could have an effect on politics. So I campaigned in the 2012 election. I campaigned for Mitt Romney. Yes, I can admit it. I was once young and dumb and believed my voice mattered back then. So I campaigned hard for him, was knocking on doors, making the phone calls, was desperate to get him elected because I thought my future depended on it. And what really ticked me off was how the other side slit his throat every day, spreading complete lies about him. They said that he actually murdered a woman by giving her cancer and denying her insurance. He said nothing about it. He never defended himself. I'm out there. I'm on the front lines having to defend him, and he's not defending himself. He puts up other idiots to defend him that just go, saying stuff that doesn't even make sense. And me, I'm getting doors slammed in my face. I'm getting hung up on doing cold calls and everything. I understand what it's like, bro. I know the frustration. You see, that's where we come in. It's our job now to correct the lies, to correct the misinformation. And if you don't want to do it, well, then don't invest here. If you don't enjoy it, then go to Bitcoin. Go to Bitcoin then. The reason you're here is because you're not content with Bitcoin and the 2x at best that it's probably going to do. The reason you're here is you want better. And yeah, I don't think we should have to be out here defending our projects. But the deal is, Richard is paying millions of dollars for lawyers. He's going to do what they tell him to do. They say, hey, you don't live stream right now. He will obey. If I was paying millions of dollars for lawyers, especially if they just won me a case against the SEC, which is incredibly rare, I'm going to listen to them. I understand your frustration. Now, I'm going to try to play a little bit of the debate here. I'm going to try to get through it. I'm not going to get through the whole thing because I tell you what, listening to this guy is so painful. It's incredibly painful for me to listen to him because he reminds me of a certain type of client I have. Now, if y'all don't know, over at reinventideal.com is my main business. This is why I don't stream that often because I'm preoccupied with that. And that business is incredibly important to me because of what we're doing there. We're literally preventing guys from ending their own lives early. We had a guy in our community here that did that. My business is there to prevent it. It's basically the hotline for troubled young men that feel like they don't belong in this world. And there's always one type of client that I always get, and I can't stand it. I call them black pill. And this is a form of nihilism. Nothing good is ever going to happen because it's been a long time since something good has happened. And that, in the investment world, we have a term for that. We call it recency bias. If you cannot recognize, Jim Rat Crypto, your own recency bias, then I'm sorry. You just don't belong here. You're just not investment literate enough to make money. All right? Now, on that note here, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get accused of being some apologist simp for Richard Hart. Let me put that bull crap down right now. Because I'll tell you what, I don't agree with Richard Hart on everything. I'll tell you things I do disagree with him on. I think that this push for marketing and postcards is the dumbest idea in the long, sad history of dumb ideas. I can talk about that later. And I'll tell you what, I was furious, absolutely furious over the HEX kill tweet because I just onboarded new people. How do you think they felt? You see, I couldn't get them into PulseChain. That was too many steps. They're like, let me just try the HEX thing first. Let me see how I like it with HEX. I'll invest a little bit into the MetaMask there. I've never used MetaMask before. I'll go do some stakes. And if that works out fine, everything, well, then maybe I'll go into PulseChain. So I just onboarded some new people. Then out comes the kill tweet. You think they were happy with me? You think we had fun conversations after that? No. And I'll tell you what really ticked me off, and I think Richard should have known this, is that the mainstream crypto media completely misreported it in all of their coverage. They were posting stupid headlines or saying stupid things like Richard Hart kills his own project. And that's what people are going to find when they go search for HEX, when they go search for Richard Hart, when they go search for PulseChain. They're going to see headlines like that. They're going to see stupid, false coverage like that because of that stupid tweet. So no, I am not an apologist or a simp for Richard Hart. I am an independent thinker, which is what led me here to begin with. But I am going to defend him today against some serious stupidity. All right? And Briss, if you're watching, you wanted me to say this here, so I'll say it. Hey, Jail Rat Crypto, I hope you're watching because you're going to learn a whole lot today. Now, y'all tell me if the audio works here because I don't know anything about like YouTube technicalities and all. Because I'll tell you what, man, like this stuff here, I hate to sound like a boomer, but this stuff, if it nothing ever works like it's supposed to. So let's head on over here to RH Max's channel, and We're going to just take a little look here at the debate that was going on. Y'all tell me in the chat if the audio works. Let's hear a little bit about what Mr. Jail Rat here has to say.
And that's like smart by Richard, but it turns into people just selling, rich people just selling on guys that are coming in. The price turns in half, 150 times over. On other price charts, it doesn't look as horrible. On ADA, it doesn't look as horrible. On BNB, it doesn't even look bad. You probably would have been retired.
There's a lot of coins that are down though. I mean, Algorand, Polkadot,
they're all down though, but like
90-some%, a lot of them. 80
but
to
Richard
90-some%.
said this was different, and he told everyone forever that his game theory is so Mac Daddy, genius dude, forever, smartest guy ever. He can't even be in the same room as a pleb. I asked Richard a normal question while the price chart was going down. I was 100% right about it in hindsight because it's only been down since. And he called me a pleb, and everyone just ganged up on me because he just wall gardens himself around any.
All right. Gotta stop it right there for a moment. Gotta stop it right there. I hope you all heard that. Well, I heard it, and it was like nails on a chalkboard. Here's my criticism of this. Here, let's lay out what he lay out what he said here. So here's what he's going at here. He's saying that HEX is doomed here because the price performance is bad. Okay, I'm going to hit that point. Price performance is bad. And he also says that Richard Hart bullies people who lay out legitimate criticism. Okay, let's take on those 2 points here. So poor price performance on HEX. And thankfully, our friend RH Max was able to counter it. I think he remembers a little bit about what I said over at his conference. And when I showed the charts, matter of fact, let's look at those charts again here. Let's see, let's switch screens here. Let's head on over to Coin Market Cap and let's see what's going on. Remember how they're always saying, oh, HEX is fundamentally doomed. Nobody else is down over 90% like we are. Let's see, how long does it take me to reach one of those here? How long is it going to take me here? Well, looky here. Well, Bitcoin Cash is trash. Can't really use that, but that's down 91%. Look at here. Shiba Inu down 85%. They'll be like, oh, that's a meme coin. Oh, how about Polkadot? 93% down. And I tell you, if you knew what I knew about Polkadot, you would not be investing in that. You would not be investing in that. We keep going down here. Look at this. Kronos, 90% down. I keep hearing from people that, oh, yeah, you want to get into Kronos because I tell you what, once the normies start getting into crypto, they're going to head over to crypto.com, and that's going to be the first thing that they see. Well, then the fact that Kronos token is down, shouldn't that tell you then that the normies are not here yet, that retail is not here yet, that the bull run has not started yet? I'm going to prove that to you beyond the shadow of a doubt today, that the bull run has not started yet. And if you think it has, you are a fool. So Kronos, there's one example. Look at this, Internet Computer, Ethereum Classic. You're going to say, well, but they're all crap tokens. Okay. Well, here, Trump, 86% down on Trump token. This is backed by the President of the United States. What more could this coin possibly have going for it? VeChain, it's down 91%. WorldCoin, backed by who? Sam Altman, one of the most dangerous and intelligent men in the world, who knows more about you than probably you know about you. Who knows more about you than your family? Filecoin, it has everything in the world going for it, with the AI narratives, the storage narratives, Arthur Hayes constantly pumping it, and Filecoin is down 99%. So shut the FUD up. Cosmos, down 90%. Shut the FUD up. Algorand, down 94%. It has a lot in the world going for it because of the RWA narrative, and it's down 94%. Shut the FUD up. Celestia, 90%. There's at least 25 coins here on this front page of CoinMarketCap, the top 100, that are down over 90%. That is 1 in 4 coins. I've said this a gazillion times before. I'm going to keep saying it until my voice goes out. The graph, this has huge narratives behind it. It's down 97%. So you're saying that HEX is fundamentally damned because we're down 99%? I'm sorry, bro, but if you think that, you just illiterate. You're falling for recency bias. And if you cannot recognize your recency bias, I'm not saying don't invest here. You don't belong here. I'm saying you're not qualified to talk about this stuff. I know that sounds incredibly elitist. I don't like sounding like an elitist, but for God's sakes, you need to know what you're talking about when you're talking about it. Now, why is this the case here? We were told that, hey, 2025 is going to be the peak of the bull market. That's when it's last year of the 4-year cycle, and we're almost halfway through it, and we're still seeing things down 90%. Why is that? I said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. I'm going to show it to you again here, people. And if you don't get this through your thick skulls, you really shouldn't be investing. This is why. Look at the 10-year treasury. See this number over here? 4.38%. When the 10-year treasury is this high, there is not going to be any bull run for any speculative asset. The bull run has not started yet, and it will not start until this comes down. Now, it came down a little bit today here. It has a long way to go, but it did come down a little bit today because people are kind of worried about unemployment going up. But my God, if you don't know that there is not going to be any positive action in crypto, or at least a fraction of what it's capable of is all it's going to do because of the 10-year treasury being where it's at, you need to shut the FUD up because you don't know what you're talking about and you're an illiterate. That's not a slam on you. That's not me trying to bully you. That's me describing you. That is a fact. If you don't know how the 10-year treasury relates to the rest of the investment world, you probably shouldn't be talking about investments. That is why the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve announcement did nothing for Bitcoin. In fact, Bitcoin went down the same time that the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve was announced. Why? That's why. The 10-year treasury is over 4%. No one is interested in speculative assets when the safe investment is paying 4.3%. A lot of people actually believe in the 4% rule. You ever heard of the 4% rule? You haven't? Okay, well, then you should shut the FUD up. The 4% rule states that if you invest in something that pays you 4% annually and you just withdraw that 4% annually, you can live off of that for the rest of your life and never run out of money. It's a perpetuity. You got to have a lot. I mean, just be able to get, I don't know, $40,000. You need to invest $1 million. That's where the millionaires are right now. You think the millionaires are going to take any chances with their hard-earned money right now when they don't have to? You don't understand this. You shouldn't be talking about it. Next point that he made here is how Richard Hart belittles his critics and community members. And he belittled him and called him a pleb. I don't like the way he talks. He says mean things. Bro, if you can't handle rough language, go to church. Hart's confrontational style has always been part of his brand. We all loved it. We loved his boldness. We love the fact that he told it like it is. And you know what? It worked for Trump. So you want to tell me that that's turning people off? No. If it turned people off, we'd be under the communist reign of President Kamala Harris right now. All right. You think Hart is a bully? You should see Max Kaiser. Look at the way that he treats people. You should see Eric Wall, who dances like a clown on the falling price charts while people were afraid for their financial futures. And I got something I want to say to Eric Wall. Eric, you better pray to Christ. Get down on your knees on broken glass and pray to Christ. You never cross paths with me. That's all I'm going to say about that. But listen, Jim Rat, if you get your fifis hurt by talk, Well, then maybe you should audition to be on Bankless, because they're happy to host a crying session with you. Now, let's get back to the debate. Where are we? Okay, yes. Might have to skip around on this one a little bit.
Real feedback.
Well, what do you think that is, though? Like,
Product.
why do you think that? Is it possible that he knows things that we don't know? That he has the data, he has the plan, he has the strategy, and he's just not going to reveal it until it's ready. And it could be really good.
Nobody's smarter than the market, and he seems to be getting lazier. I remember watching Richard when he was dialed in. He is lazy now. He doesn't care as much. When people,
I hear you guys saying you just see black. You see black right now. Can you see the screen? What y'all throwing in the chat there? Throw something in the chat there if all you see is black.
do slander about him, he doesn't give a shit. He just blocks them. He doesn't even care anymore. Back in the day, he was heated up about everything. If one like Anon account said anything, he spam follows everyone, so they kind of get it.
Yeah, Cookie, you say you see me, but do you hear the debate? Let me know that you hear the debate.
Enriched with him. That's what he did with me. He followed me when I was just like brand new. So you get enriched in the community. Yes, it's good marketing, but marketing greed to new users does not end up with forever gains. It ends up with forever pain. And I'm not saying it won't go up, but everyone has to lose it all first, except the stakers, I guess. And that's where I stand. And I don't think HEX is being outperformed by everything on PulseChain as well at the moment.
Everything on PulseChain?
No, you know, the core.
HEX is being outperformed by the core.
Yes. And I don't even have to check.
Well, just on the smartest guy in crypto. So that part,
anybody got a problem with that? Anyone got a problem with the new coins outperforming HEX? Anyone have a problem and think that Richard Hart is a failure because his new projects are outperforming his oldest one? I mean, what's the criticism here? I mean, I'm finding this a lot through when I was listening to this yesterday, that like, hey, I'm failing to understand where your kill shots are. I'm failing to understand here what it is you're criticizing, because half the stuff you're saying here doesn't even sound bad. And it certainly does not sound unique. It certainly does not sound unique to the PulseChain ecosystem. Now, PulseX, we know that's going to be the overwhelming winner of this cycle. The only thing I think that has the ability to outperform that is probably going to be INC, the incentive token, just because of how small that supply is. Does anybody have a problem with that? I mean, the only people I guess have a problem with it are people that ain't invested in it. Get back to this.
I just keep going back to one point in time. Yeah, thanks. That right now price is down right now. That's been down for a while. Why wouldn't it be just as reasonable, or even more likely, that around the corner, when the cycle goes up, when ETH goes up, with all these other bullish things in the ecosystem, why isn't Richard going to look like a genius in 6 months, a year from now? Like, why was the case?
Why doesn't Charles Hoskinson look like a genius? ADA dropped 99% and hit all-time highs. Everyone still calls him a retard.
A lot of people like him though too.
I like him.
ADA has not hit new all-time highs. What chart are you looking at, dude? Man, you want to go back to looking at coin market cap? Let's look at coin market cap. Where is ADA right now? Scroll up, and here it is, still down 78% from the all-time high. What are you talking about, jail rat? So maybe he'll explain.
He at least is stimulating. He's a little bit of a word salad.
Why do you like him better? What is better about him?
I don't think him better. I still think he's probably scamming the fuck out of someone, probably a little bit.
But why do you feel differently about Richard versus him, though?
Huh?
Why do you feel differently about Richard versus him? Is it because you have the coins that Richard made?
Morally willing to manipulate people. in a way that would enrich him primarily.
How would it enrich him?
Oh, come on, dude. Who do you think sits in those liquidity?
Okay, pause it right there. Pause it right there. Because I heard two new things here. One, Richard Hart manipulates people. Two, Richard Hart's out to enrich himself. Personal motives and lifestyle out. I don't know when it's coming, but you'll also hear later on in this debate that Jim Rat Crypto says, well, Richard Hart is not involved enough. He's not being accountable. He's not doing enough engagement. He also makes that claim. But then he totally turns back on that claim by saying, well, Hart is being manipulative. And great, man, if he's not involved enough, how can he be manipulative? Answer me that. Let's talk about manipulative. Says, Cookie, you say you see the black again. How about now? Stop the sharing. Maybe that does it. I don't know what's going on. It's just YouTube right here. All right. Well, let's talk about the manipulative behavior. The change in your position. I mean, or later on here, you're going to say that he's not involved enough. He's not being held accountable. He's not engaging enough here. But now you're saying he's too involved and he's manipulating people. And to what end? To enrich himself. Okay. I mean, Hart's wealth predates crypto. He was retired at age 25. And his lifestyle, he's always had that. So how that's evidence of manipulation, don't see it. Sorry. And the cult of greed, I mean, you want to say, oh, it's all about greed. It's just all about financial gain. Bro, you're going to be the guy that comes out here and says, I'm in it for the tech. No. Everybody that says that, we know it's all just crap. Everybody here in this space is here for the money. Now, he also goes on to say, well, Hart has all these wallets that he controls and these disproportionate cash outs. Where's the evidence? Show it to me. Happy to see the evidence. But they talk about manipulating people for money. I can tell you this and speak on good authority with this because of my background. When I was a financial advisor in one of the branch offices and I was advising high net worth clients, $10 million or more, I noticed something about the really rich ones. Once you reach a certain level of wealth, and I would put it at maybe $20 to $30 million, there is very little happiness that money can buy you. There is very little utility that you can get out of money once you've reached that level of wealth. Because when you look at the billionaires out there, like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, what are these guys doing with their money? I mean, they're certainly not trying to make much more of it. Because when you look at Elon Musk, he pissed away a lot of money on Twitter. Now, why did he do it? This is why Bill Gates does what he does too. They believe that it's their mission now to buy and build a better world. It's altruistic in their eyes. Now, I don't agree with Bill Gates. I don't agree with George Soros and how he spends his money trying to destroy the world. I don't always agree with Elon Musk either. But when you have that level of wealth, that's what you try to do with it. You try to build a better world. You want more proof of this here? Do you know who Kathleen Kennedy is? You know the company Disney, right? And you know the intellectual property known as Star Wars, right? Of course you do. It's the most famous intellectual property in the history of the world. Kathleen Kennedy controls it. Now, how's the quality of Star Wars been lately? It's not been good. For the first time, it did something nobody thought it would do. It lost money under Kathleen's tutelage. Why is that? What's going on here? I mean, let's look at the woman. She's over 70 years old. You would think, well, maybe she's got family she wants to spend time with, grandchildren she wants to spend time with. What's more important to her is not money. She's got more than enough money. She could retire, never have to work again for the rest of her life. The millions of dollars that she has, she could not spend it in the 30 years at best that she could potentially live. What is she trying to do with all of her girl boss crap and forced throat feminism in Star Wars? What is she trying to do? She's trying to reshape the world. And I don't agree with it. That's what people do when they reach a certain level of wealth, is they're not out for cash grabs. They are out to change the world to fit the way they want it to be. They want to use their wealth to buy a better world. We have heard Richard say that before. He said, my cup is so full that I don't need the money, and that's why I'm doing this. He is trying to fix the world. I believe him, because once you go past $30 million in net worth, you cannot spend that money in your lifespan. There's just not enough things out there to buy. Now, you heard him say it a million times. I'm in it for the glory. It's what all these rich people are out there for. They're just trying to enforce their will on the world. So if you think he's manipulating people to make more money, I'm sorry, you don't know rich people. Let's get back to the debate here. See how much more of this I can stand. Was there something else I was going to... yeah, you know what? There was something else I was going to bring up here, is that he says later on that, you know, Hart's lifestyle and his motives, he's trying to pull off a long con. He uses that word specifically. I don't know if we'll get to it. But if you don't think I'm telling the truth about what he says in this debate, go watch this debate, because I can't. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me to listen to this black pill nonsense here. But he says Richard Hart is trying to pull off a long con. Son, if you're going to pull off a con, you don't take a long time to do it. What you do is you get in and you get out fast, and you hope nobody notices. And again, how can he run a long con if he's not involved enough, like you claim later on? You see, long game, it's speculative, but he just spent millions of dollars on Quinn Emanuel to fight a case that wasn't even threatening him with jail time. It was a civil case. You know, the SEC does not threaten you with jail. They threaten you with civil lawsuits. He could have just paid the fine, and it would have been less than what he paid his lawyers. Trust me. It would have been a lot less. So why did he not just pay the fine? Because he wants to brag about how the fact he was the one that beat the SEC. He loves bragging points. He loves bragging rights. And that should prove to you that he is in it for the glory, like he says. I try to listen to a little more of this.
Liquidity pools for 6 years.
Who think that has he been cashing out? Like,
How
has he been buying cars?
How many wallets does he have? Does anyone know? It could be 10,000. Because I have about...
Do you know Jail Rat Crypto? Show me what you got. Show me what our wallets he has.
77. Yeah. And he's 10 times more advanced than me.
But you know this more than anyone. Richard retired before crypto. Why would he need any more money?
Dude, remember the Gucci? Remember the watches? There's only so many levels to this stuff, bro. If you go down that rabbit hole, guess what it ends? You end up on an island. You end up in Finland by yourself with just endless money and no one to be able to say anything about you. Guess what? If he stops talking to all of us today,
Jim Rat, thank you for telling me and confirming you know nothing about how rich people are. Because what you just said there just proves my point.
Nothing happens to him. He stays rich forever. Everyone in the community dies. Nobody can do a damn thing.
But why would he do that? Like, there's no...
He's got the money to be rich forever now. The money that he has. I mean, if you believed the SEC's claims that the sacrifice wallet just padded his pockets, the money in that sacrifice wallet is money you could not hope to spend in his remaining lifespan. So sorry, you are making a very extraordinary claim here, Jim Rat, and you need to supply extraordinary evidence. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. I'll believe you if you got it, but I'm waiting. And all I hear is crickets.
Motive to do that.
Because it's a lot of work to spam price charts to everyone in crypto saying that you have a product that is superior in price performance and that you are fundamentally smarter than everyone else, and then having a price chart that is fundamentally worse than everything else.
All right, debunked that, boy. The price chart is not fundamentally worse than everything else. I don't need to go through CoinMarketCap again. And also, you just crushed your own argument. You're saying, well, he's doing all this work here. I think con artists want to do a lot of work. This is something I brought up last stream. About all these fools that are running meme coin scams and all these fools that are running sacrifice model scams. You guys should realize by now, you would make a lot more money and do a lot better if instead of doing the scams, you just picked an established coin and promoted that. You would make a lot more money investing your bags in that coin and promoting it. And it's easier to do. Now, what thieves like to do, they like to take the path of least resistance. They like to do the easy thing. They don't like to do hard work. They're working a lot harder now. It was like I said last time, the lazy man works twice as hard in the end. So here, Jim Rat is saying that, yeah, Hart's doing all this hard work to pull off this big scam. Well, thieves don't like to work hard. And then two, it would be a lot easier to do the work honestly, to promote a coin honestly and back it honestly than it would be to do the hard work of trying to pull off this great big grand scam that everybody is watching. Let's wind the clocks back. 2023 in the summertime, or springtime really, where we kept hearing 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. When PulseChain launch? When mainnet? Soon. When it's ready. There was a reason why it took that damn long. I mean, we were waiting for it since April of 2022. We thought it was going to launch in May because he was on Wendy O show and had said, yeah, it's going to launch in May 2022, and it didn't. It didn't. We had to wait a whole year. Why? This man knows his reputation matters. He knows all the eyes are on him, and he wanted it to be as good as it could be, to be as ready as it could be. Because if there was just one little mistake, you knew it would never hear the end of it. From all the haters, from mainstream crypto, especially from those scumbags over at Discover Crypto. You know those scumbags, that Joshua Jake and that TJ Shed? They're thieves. They are thieves. I mean, yeah, we see Ben's in jail. Ben Armstrong is in jail, but that doesn't absolve those guys. That doesn't absolve TJ Shed. Go see Cassandra Wolf. She can show you all the evidence of how those guys are thieves, how they stole money, and how they're committing tax fraud. Those guys, you think they were ever giving us fair coverage? You think they would have given us fair coverage? They didn't give us fair coverage recently. Something Crypto 7 played on his stream recently, showing those idiots over at Discover Crypto saying, oh, well, yeah, Richard Hart may have won the SEC case, but he doesn't have regulatory clarity, or he doesn't have more regulatory clarity than Ethereum. In fact, meme coins have regulatory clarity. No, they do not. But Richard Hart is still going to be arrested by Interpol. They actually believe the Interpol bullcrap. And I got to tell you guys, I'm like, Crypto 7, hey, bad respect to you and everything. Got nothing bad to say about you. Interpol doesn't matter. Because can you name for me one problem Interpol has ever solved in the history of its existence? Can you name for me one terrorist or criminal Interpol has ever brought to justice? No. No one can. And on top of that, nothing matters until the 10-year treasury comes down. I'm going to show this again here. Show it a gazillion times. Do you see this? What's this number say? 4.38%. 4.38%. Can everybody see this here? Cookie says he can't see it. Somebody else, let me know in the chat if you can see this screen. We're looking at a yield chart here. These numbers say nothing else matters. Not Interpol, not Richard Hart streaming, not no one. None of that crap matters. The Bitcoin Strategic Reserve does not matter and is not going to help the price when the Treasury is over 4.38%. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. I respect you, Crypto7. Not trying to make a dig at you. The Interpol doesn't matter right now. Maybe it'll matter at some point in the future, but not when you got these numbers. We're not getting any positive price run till this comes down. I'm going to keep saying it until the thing comes down. And then when it comes down, I am going to remind everybody, hey, that's what mattered. Because then we can start anticipating the prices to go up. All right. Now, where was I here? Some other things that I'd heard. Some other points that were made here that I know I wanted to get to here. Hart's lack of accountability or lack of engagement. Saying, well, Richard has changed. He's not doing enough tweeting. He's not live streaming. Everybody's acting like live streaming is the big deal, and that's the only thing that's keeping the price down. It's the only thing that's holding us back. Or he needs to be out there marketing like a clown and doing everything that he did last cycle. Son, if you think we need the founder of the coin to hold our hands the whole time for the coin to do well, then you seriously don't understand the purpose of the coin in the first place. Is that what we're invested in? Because that's not why I got here. That's not what I was. That's not the reason I invested in HEX. It's because I like the founder. I mean, I didn't like him at first. I didn't like HEX at first. I didn't like crypto at first. But the more I researched it, the more I became convinced that I was wrong and that this is a worthwhile investment and something to pay attention to. And it was not the man that I was investing in. It was the project. You need to understand. Do you think Hart is going to live forever? What happens when Richard dies? I'm not rooting for that. I'm hoping he doesn't leave us for a long time. But suppose he died tomorrow. Tragic accident. Does that mean that the entire ecosystem is doomed? Nothing good can ever happen with it? I mean, if that's the case here, we probably shouldn't be investing in this then. Because this is not DeFi. This is not new technology. This is not anything cutting edge. This is just the stock market for the internet. It's just the internet version of the stock market with prettier logos. That's it. You say, well, he's not involved enough because, previously he would call out scams. I mean, he's calling out scams now and making fun of them. He has the longest thing on his Twitter that shows this big long thread of all the scams that he's called out. Now, I'll tell you what, though. When you get older, when you age as a man, you say less. You all might notice this. As men get older, they say less and less. Why? Because no one listens. That's why. It's the reason why my business over at reinventideal.com there's a reason it exists. Because no one listens to men, especially old men. So maybe he's not calling out the scams anymore because no one listens. And later on, he calls out, Richard Hart, you called out scams and you called out Celsius, but then HEX went down 99%, so you're just as bad as Celsius. No. He called out Celsius before it was revealed that Celsius was a scam. Everybody was promoting Celsius and acting like it was the greatest thing ever. Like, oh, and bank yourself. He called it out beforehand. But here's the real deal. If you were in Celsius when it went down, you didn't just lose money. You lost control. Now, HEX holders, they lost money, but they still control their assets, unlike Celsius users. And the 99% drop doesn't negate that. So it's not the same thing, bro. What you're doing here is you're doing a very piss poor, fallacious tactic, and that is using twisted logic to come to a false conclusion. Let me try to get back to the debate.
Everything that has any real traction. Anything
the HEX on PulseChain chart's not so bad.
The HEX on PulseChain chart is trash.
Compared to the joke was compared to HEX on Ethereum. That was the new chart. Remember when he was like, "Hey, look at the all-time highs." That's a joke.
And so trust me, I trade on PulseChain with all these Jeets. I watch Rack and Rochelle's wallets, dude. It's sickening stuff. It's sickening stuff. These Telegram groups. You know that I accept no money from anyone. You don't know that for certain, but I've always said that, right? And there's no receipts of me ever getting any money to shill anything or even getting suggested to do anything. I have always been like, hey, my reputation's number one, so I'm not going to sell out. You've been on the same wave with that. Like, I think it seems like, I was just saying. And
again, the reason why the charts are what they are is because of the 10-year treasury. I'm going to skip ahead here because he complains about, oh, we're so dependent on Ethereum. No, I want to hit that point.
I knew we were only going to go down until I came back and I could time it because it's not that hard because look at the bridge. Nothing's coming in. Everything's going out. It's changed a little bit now, almost break even, but not really.
Are we going up now since you came back? I mean, now that you're back.
All right, now here's another claim he's making here is that he can time the market and that you need to trade. Richard Hart said, don't trade. Trading is going to get you wrecked. He's saying, oh, no, you shouldn't listen to Richard Hart. He contradicts himself. He trades all the time. And if you knew where the top was, you should have traded out of it. Okay. That's right. You should have been able to tell when the top was the top, right? You should have known. Because it's right there on the chart, right? It's right there on the chart. So you should know when to sell. And so let's see here. I actually have a chart that I want to show you. Where do I have it here? It's right here. See this over at hexchart.com. You remember this time right here, guys? This was the good old days. This was 2021. Everybody remember 2021 and how happy we were? Oh, man, those were good times. So I tell you, back in 2021, here's how good life was for me. I blew $10,000 one weekend at a resort, and I did not have a shred of anxiety about it. Now, I'm not saying that to flex. I'm actually saying that to be a little self-deprecating. That's how stupid I was back then. I actually pissed away $10,000 in a weekend at a resort. Because I thought, oh, yeah, good times are rolling. Let them roll. Take a look here. What do you see in these candles? Now, you can see the long-term trend, which is going up. This is August 26, 2021. Over here is July 11th, 2021. So we went from 8 cents to 20 cents in those 2 months. And this looks pretty good. Everybody's like, well, you should have just held on the whole time. You did not see any of this on this day. So here, July 13th, 2021, 7 days later, on the 20th, all of its gains, everything that was there is completely wiped out and it's gone. You telling me that you were supposed to know that that was not the top? This was not the bear market starting? Because I'll tell you what, a lot of people thought that, and that's what created this candle. And then here, look at all this. These are 50% drawdowns, every single one of them. There's a red candle that totally cancels out the preceding green candle. This was rough. You guys only think it was easy and only think it was great for the OGs because you're looking at it zoomed out. But when you zoom in on this chart, there was no way in hell you could have possibly known that any of this was the top or not the top, because what did it go on to do the rest of the year? Let's have a look. Wow, looky here. Oh my. It just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. The top was right here. September 19th, 2021 at 50 cents, 51 cents. And really, I think the wick went all the way up to 56 cents. A lot of people over here thought it was all over way before then. So, Jim Rat, if you're so smart that you knew what was going on here, why don't you share it with the rest of us? Want to share it with the rest of the class? The fact of the matter is, no, you didn't know that. You only think you know that because you can look at the chart now. Because, all the information is conveniently right there. Yeah, with 2020 hindsight, you can see it, but living in this moment and living in the fog of war, you did not know that. You did not know that. All right. Condor, you say that you can't see nothing. Is anybody else able to see the chart or no? Anybody else here? Man, this is just a YouTube being ghetto here, right? Okay, good. All right. So this idea that we need to be able to call the top and we need to be able to trade, bro, you're in the wrong asset for it. You're in the wrong asset for it here, bro. Try listening to more.
Do you feel like we're going up?
I feel like if we don't, then it's over. Like if ETH blows out and these whales just dump Pulse to the ground and go into ETH, we are so effing cooked. But HEX will probably go to the moon in that scenario too.
Well, so that's what confused me though. So the strategy.
Gee, it'd be a good thing to be diversified a little bit in HEX and a little bit in PHEX. Which, I mean, there was a guy a while back, man, like back in 2023, there was a guy that said, hey, you should buy a little bit of every one of the core coins, including HEX, and not put all your eggs in one basket, not bet all on one horse. Man, there was this guy here, man. He ate a lot of crap for saying that because there was this one young, dumb jerk that told him he was wrong. Who was this guy here? I think that he runs like a Halloween shop, right? He had long hair for a while. What was his name? Was it Johnny Cage or something, right? No, Johnny Chaos. Yeah. Remember, he said you should have a little bit of HEX just in case because you don't know what's going to happen. Anything, what this market cycle as it's playing out right now should teach you is you don't know anything. Now, continuing here with Mr. Jim Rat Crypto, he is going to contradict himself here again. Right now, what he's saying is, well, if Ethereum does well, everybody's going to pull out of PulseChain and go into Ethereum. And then later on in the stream, he's going to say that PulseChain is 100% dependent on Ethereum's performance. Which one is it, Jail Rat? Tell me.
I mean, again, if you're saying that, again, the smartest guy, everyone got wrecked, all this stuff. If like what direction, if you think we're going up at some point, does it matter?
Well, all the bad people already got all the money, so I don't care.
So does that mean that people that are?
I don't want to enrich. I don't want to enrich these whales that are so much more diabolical than you, bro, and me.
But if you think we're going up and you hold and it goes up, like again, 6 months, a year from now, like however long it takes, like things are good, right? Like what is going to remember all this?
What if
all
it
this
doesn't,
stuff?
bro? And you could have traded into ETH and like made $1 million.
Yeah, but
there we go again. Trade, yeah. Make $1 million. I mean, just look at the chart. You'll know when the top is. If ETH goes up, what happens to PulseChain? Huh? I mean, don't we know that there's a guy out there who, shortly after the Ethereum ETF came to be, there was a guy that placed a very large order on Ethereum, right? Isn't there? I forget what his name is, man, but I'm not even sure that it's him, but there was also a very important wallet that we had a nickname for it, a very affectionate nickname. What was it called? Mac Daddy, Track Daddy, Back Daddy, Rack Daddy, Sack Daddy. Yes, the sacrifice wallet has a lot of Ethereum. If Ethereum goes up, what does that mean for the sacrifice wallet? And later on, this fella is going to actually say that that's a bad thing, that PulseChain is so dependent on Ethereum. Waiting to hear him say that here because I know he said it.
You got to be. That's the thing. Trading. Like, you got to be a good trader. Who's gonna do that? Like, there's gonna be a subset, a handful.
Well, then why don't we all line up and kiss your ass if you're so great at trading? Why don't you share it with the rest of the class how you do it, bro?
I hope you get the maddest of gains.
I mean, like, he's out here saying, oh, Richard Hart is just so egotistical and thinks he's so smart. But then he comes out here and says, oh, but I'm the world's best trader because I know when the top is.
Trading, but I don't think a lot of people are going to do that.
No, and that's how Richard Hart got rich, trading. Not first time rich. He obviously became rich with his businesses, right? Where he was spamming and like he openly talked about all his marketing tactics and told everyone how to play the fiddle with everyone with that stuff too. And then I forgot my point, but the point
I'm with you that Richard is like, hey,
it's such a well thought out argument that you forgot your point.
Hey, don't do these things because you probably suck at it. I'm
And
genius billionaire
exactly,
founder guy.
okay,
I can do it.
That's the way.
I'm
That's
with you
the
on
way to
that.
think about it. I didn't even think about it like that, but that is what he's doing.
I don't think it's a bad thing though. I mean, I think he is genius founder, billionaire guy. He probably is better, smarter, all these things, and a lot of people.
Well, if he was
and
better,
a lot of people should be
smarter,
doing
his
it.
product would be doing better and smarter than the top 40 things.
Yeah, but he doesn't control the product. That's the thing. Yeah, he may have a lot of supply. He may have all these things, but it's not like he can press a button and make
and
the
that's
price
the other
go up.
thing.
That
That's
chart
the
is
other
everyone
thing.
selling.
He does
It's
have all
probably
this-
not him.
The only benefit, the only promise we have, I feel like you're not supposed to rely on ETH pumping for your product to be good, even though it's a helpful thing and they're bonded together. There's still coins on PulseChain that suck when.
That's what I was waiting to hear. Let's see what else he says here, and then I'll tear that apart.
Pulse goes up, right? There's coins that lag to that. The 9-inch token absolutely rug pulled to zero. Oh, like over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And there's no liquidity. Zero. $6,000. I couldn't even do a trade in it. I was thinking about scooping because it was so dead. And I never even bring up these guys, but then they force me to because everyone harasses me. And you know the harassment that happens if you're not a maxi. I've been getting harassed at the top of the market when everything was great. I was harassed.
Both sides of the harassment, but yeah.
Well, I'm harassing the dude who did. I'm just doing to Richard.
I'm saying like the maxis, I imagine, get hurt.
Oh my! I feel so sorry for you that people criticize you, that people disagree with you, that people don't like you. Man, have you been to high school? All right. I want to hit this point here about Ethereum because I'm hearing this from a lot of people. Like, well, if Ethereum doesn't do well, we're going to fail. Friends, listen to me here on this. Everything except for Bitcoin, everything underneath Bitcoin on CoinMarketCap, on all the listings, everything is dependent on Ethereum. The whole crypto market. More than half of all the cryptos out there that are easy for new people coming in to buy run on Ethereum. There are more ERC20s out there than most others. The overwhelming majority of the TVL out there is on Ethereum. There will not be any bull run at all until Ethereum runs. Altcoins correlate with Ethereum due to market dynamics and liquidity pools. It's a standard feature and it's not a flaw. PulseChain leverages Ethereum as a fork, benefiting from its growth while offering improvements. We are a cheaper, faster Ethereum. So if Ethereum runs, we run, whether we were paired to it or not, whether the sacrifice wallet had any of it or not. But here's the real big deal. All right? You want some assurance that Ethereum is going to be okay? I'm going to give it to you. So like all you ETH haters out there, everybody that thinks, oh yes, Solana is going to be the great big thing. We're going to my Solana party. Solana's so great. Oh, let's forget all about that time where, when Solana shut itself off and it had all those outages. And let's also forget the fact that it has administrator keys. Here's all you need to know about Ethereum. If you think Ethereum is not going to have any sort of run, that means you think you know more than Larry Fink. You think you know more than BlackRock. You think you know more than the Trump family. You think you know more than Fidelity. You think you know more than Abigail Johnson. You think you have more inside information than them. Now, I don't like Abigail Johnson personally, but I respect her because I do know this is not a stupid woman. This is a very intelligent woman. How intelligent? Especially, how intelligent is Fidelity and the leadership there? Let me tell you, as early as 2005, Fidelity had the opportunity to invest in mortgage-backed securities. They said no. And they held that position all the way through 2009. Mortgage-backed securities, no, we're not doing them. We're keeping them out of our funds. Man, that decision aged like wine, didn't it? Sure did. Sure did. So if you people think that Ethereum is trash and it's never recovering, well, you should go offer your services to BlackRock and to Fidelity and say, hey, dummies, you guys are going to lose billions and billions of dollars because you're so stupid and I'm so smart. And there are a lot of people out there that think that. It's the exact same stupidity that those conspiracy theorist people go off of. Man, I can't stand these conspiracy theorist people because you know what it is? It's ego. And you can see it running all throughout Jim Rat Crypto here. It's all ego, where it's just like, I'm so smart. I don't believe the official story. I'm so smart. I know what's really going on, and I can see it, and you people can't because you're all dumber than me. All right. So you want to talk about Ethereum, and y'all are saying, oh, Ethereum is dead. Again, it's recency bias. Just because nothing's happened for a while, you think things are going to continue to not happen. You don't think anything good is going to happen because nothing good has happened for a while. Again, it's all FUD. Again, shut the FUD up. Try to just get through more here, man. I'm having a tough time.
Harassed as much as the non
Right, of
because
course.
everyone.
True.
I'm gonna skip
Yeah,
ahead.
there's people say, "Oh, you're not maxi enough." Some people are like, "Oh, you're not enough maxi." I'm like, I don't care.
Skip ahead.
You
here.
can't even leave
I'm
Finland.
not sure he's in Finland. I don't think he's. I don't know. Sure
Well,
he's in
wherever
Finland.
he is, he's out of the United States. People being this manipulative, but I come from the sales world.
It's a fair criticism, honestly, but I just don't. I don't see it. I can't logically make a connection between what he would do. So that's why I don't think it's not.
He's in Finland. What is he going to do? He can't even leave
I'm
Finland.
not sure he's in Finland. I don't think he's. I don't know. Sure
Well,
he's in
wherever
Finland.
he is, he's out of the United States because in the United States, he is not very welcomed. That's the truth of the matter. He is not.
He was a couple years ago. He did fly to the U.S. That was a bet. Eric Wall was like,
Yeah, he went to
"Not
put
gonna
in
do
a
it."
day for his mom, probably for the last time, because he's been doing this for a very, very long time. And I guarantee he does not keep up with his taxes for all his ETH swaps. Nobody would. It's
All right, this is the last point I wanted to talk about was this claim right here. Oh, Max knew that back in, was it like I think it was late 2022 was when Hart came here to United States. It was the last time he was here. And he did a nice little tour. But first off, let's talk about the claim that, oh yeah, Hart is in Finland and he can't leave Finland. You know that? You know that, huh? Anybody know where he is? You sure about that? Because the SEC tried to serve him papers. They couldn't serve him papers. They ended up sending it to a police station in Finland. And I believe that they also brought that up here in the trial that, yeah, he was not properly served. That was one of Quinn Emanuel's defenses, that Hart was not properly served. Oh, and by the way, Jim Rat, you said that the case got dropped because of jurisdiction. No, that's bullshit. The reason it got dropped is because of failure to state a claim. That was in the ruling. Failure to state a claim. You know what that means? What that means is that the SEC went to the judge and said, oh, we think Richard Hart is a bad man. And the judge said, okay, well, why do you think he's a bad man? Oh, well, we don't know, but we think he's bad. And the judge was like, I'm sorry, I'm failing to hear a claim here. This is how it went. Where she even went out and asked him, hey, you claim that HEX and PulseX and PulseChain are alter egos, but you're not claiming that now. So have you abandoned that claim? And they're like, oh, I don't know, as they pee their pants. And she's like, I don't understand here. What's the claim? She was sitting there listening, demanding they make a claim, and the SEC failed to state a claim. They said, oh, yeah, he stole money from investors. She's like, okay, great. Show me. Where did he steal money? Oh, we don't know. We don't know, but we know he did it. You made this claim and he couldn't substantiate it. That's a failure to state a claim. That's why the case got dismissed. It wasn't just about jurisdiction. Now, Quinn Emanuel wanted to go for jurisdiction because that was the fastest way to get the case dismissed. That's it. Because as you know, Hart, they wanted to get this over with so that it was done way before the bull run time was about to begin. That's all that the whole jurisdiction thing was. Nobody really cares about whether he lives in the United States or doesn't live in the United States. That wasn't on the judge's concern. What really ticked her off the most, and you can feel it in her writing, is that it was a failure to state a claim. You guys need to point that out here when you got to defend that case. Because when some idiot, like any of the Bankless boys says, oh, well, it just got dismissed due to jurisdiction, you say, read the ruling. It says failure to state a claim. Now, let's talk about him not living in the United States. We think that that's about taxes? I mean, if the guy is evading taxes, why hasn't he sold his Bitcoin yet? Because I remember he holds a ton of Bitcoin, and he says he's not selling it because he doesn't like taxes. But if he's evading taxes, why doesn't he just sell it? Because he hates Bitcoin. He thinks it's trash. Why doesn't he just dump it then and then keep evading taxes like he's been doing? Because he's not evading taxes. And let's also talk about this here, guys. I'm not a hater. I have recently come to feel better about the direction of my country. But let's be honest. America is not a pretty place. You saw what happened in what we call the Summer of Love, 2020. You saw what happened when the media ran wild with race baiting and how they turn people against each other. I mean, there is an entire political division dedicated to the destruction of this country. And it is backed up entirely by an ideology of parasitism and thievery. And people vote for it. People give it credence. I wouldn't want to live here if I didn't have to. If it was easy for me to pick up and run, you know where I'd go? I'd go to Puerto Vallarta in Mexico, or Playa del Carmen. Or maybe I'd go to Southeast Asia. Maybe I'd go to Eastern Europe. Because something that I have a great deal of experience with is living in ghettos, living in trailer parks. And I'll tell you what, it sucks. It really sucks. I mean, if you want to know just how rough it is, go to a public school. I went to public schools here in America, and they sucked. I mean, if you send your kids to public school, you do not love your kids. I can prove that beyond the shadow of a doubt. Because crime, the degeneracy, and the fact that everybody has a chip on their shoulder, that's something that a lot of expats go away to get away from. It's not necessarily because of the politics. A lot of people think about expats, it's all about politics and taxes. No. A lot of it is because you get treated better like a human being in other places around the world. Now, particularly in Mexico, everybody thinks, oh, Mexico's this run-down, corrupt country. That's where all the illegal aliens come from. And they bring in all their drugs and all their fentanyl. Not all the places, no. There are many pockets of Mexico that are completely dominated by expats and rich, retired expats that have no need to go out and commit crimes. That's why people go there. I know because I helped clients go there when I was a financial advisor. Everywhere in America is so damn ghetto. Everybody's got a chip on their shoulder. And I'll tell you what, this is something that I think is only in America, or really only in the West. Only in the West do we have this problem. And that is this riff of hatred between men and women, the sex war that's going on. This, oh, all men are bad, or all women are bad. Blah, 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 blah. Everybody just hates each other and can't ever stop talking trash about each other. That only happens here. That doesn't happen in the rest of the world. I never saw any of that when I was in Southeast Asia. I never saw any of that when I was in Mexico. I never saw any of that in South America, Central America. I don't see any of that in Eastern Europe. It's probably where Richard is somewhere in Eastern Europe. And I'll tell you, the reason why I think he's there is because of girls. He's there for the girls. Because you think a guy like that looks like him and acts like him, can walk up to any chick here in America and hit on her and not get labeled a creep and get recorded, posted on TikTok or laughed at in all the group chats? No, that would happen. But over in these other places, like Eastern Europe, like Southeast Asia, like South America, the girls chase you. I'm not making that up. That whole passport bros thing, that's real. You go over there, you're a guy that's in good shape, and you're not a weirdo, the girls chase you. That's what happens. And you don't even have to be in shape, actually. You just look like a normal guy, and you can converse like a normal guy. The girls come after you. I guarantee you that is why Richard Hart is not here in the United States. Tax evasion claims, speculative. I mean, tracking these crypto wallets and the trades that they do and tying them to a person is impossible because crypto is pseudonymous. Now, let's talk about his visit here to the U.S. last time that he was here. Well, that counters the claim here of him being unwelcome. I mean, when he came here, what did he do? First, he completely whooped and destroyed Eric Wall's lying ass. But he also went on several programs. He went on Mike Sartain's show. He went on Justin Waller's show, Adam Sosnick, Fresh and Fit. I mean, he was on tour all over the place. So if they wanted to arrest him, they could have arrested him. And in fact, he said he had a run-in with the police, that he got busted for shopping. So he ran into the cops, and when they had him in custody, if there was any higher level law enforcement agency that wanted him, he would have been handed over. That's how it happens. If the FBI wanted him, if the Department of Justice wanted him, if the SEC wanted him, they would have handed him over when they had him. But the fact that he didn't proves that the claim is wrong, son. All right. Can't listen to any more of it. But I want to give you guys hope going forward. Or not hope. No, hope is not right. Hope is the wrong word. I want to give you conviction that you're doing the right thing by staying invested. See, the reason this guy is so negative is because the bull run has not started yet. He thinks it should have started yet. It has not started yet. That's why he's so negative and so emotional. And I understand your frustration, bro. But you're only frustrated because, I'm sorry to say this, it's true though. The only reason you're frustrated is because you're extremely investment illiterate. Let me educate you. Because imagine this, all right? I know this is going to piss a lot of people off right here when they hear me say this. Imagine, there's a man standing in the middle of a smoking crater, and he's clutching a half-melted Trezor wallet, and he's yelling, "The bull run hasn't started yet." At first glance, you probably assume that he's inhaled too many JPEGs. Maybe he overdosed on hopium. Or he got pumped up from some crypto telegram group run by, the names here. It's run by some guy that has the username CryptoStallion69, right? But no. An actual fact. It is an actual fact. Not just any fact. See, this little fact here comes with a delicious tang of just maybe plausible enough to ruin your week if you ignore it. Here's the idea. Despite Bitcoin flirting with $110,000 like a drunk ex at 2 a.m., the real bull run hasn't even taken off its trousers yet. Why? Well, here's why. We're allegedly at the start of a brand new economic cycle. You know that we're at the bottom of the business cycle? Did you know that? You think crypto was going to top at the bottom of the business cycle? You think any asset class was going to top during the bottom of the business cycle? You just don't know economics if you think that. But minty fresh phase of capitalism, where everybody pretends that the last 3 years of financial indigestion didn't happen, that's now. So let's rewind. You remember 2022, right? No? That's fair. Most of us blacked it out. But technically, and really, the United States was in a recession. They refused to call it a recession because that would look bad for Biden. But we were in a recession. 2 consecutive quarters of contraction. That is a recession, whether you want to call it one or not. You want to act like a teenager that is insisting, no, it's just a phase. Well, dyeing their hair black and listening to My Chemical Romance. The economy was slumping. The vibes sucked. And your savings account, your crypto balances, all gave you a look of saying, hey, brace for impact. We're crawling out of that trough now, guys. See, the economic version of getting off the bathroom floor after a bad curry and into expansion, that's happening now. Because businesses, they want to borrow money again. They just need the rates to come down. Junk bonds. Junk bonds are being hoovered upon. They're being grabbed up like cocaine at a 1980s hedge fund party. Inflation, well, allegedly it's down. Oil prices, that's down. The Fed, they're not saying nothing. Or are they? Well, it depends who you ask at the Fed. Let me show you this here. In fact, let me just do this. All right. I'll show you this. Did you even hear about this? The Atlanta Fed predicts 4.6% GDP growth in quarter 2, 2025. When did you ever hear a story like that? I never heard no stories like that. What I'm hearing from the mainstream media is crap like this here. This is here. It's like, oh, tariffs bad. And here's something good right here. 10-year Treasury yield falls. Let's check it again here. How much has it fallen? Not that much. Still 4.38%. The thing was at 4.5 earlier. That hasn't fallen by much here yet. Got a long way to go. But all I've been hearing over here every time I check it, CNBC, is I hear nothing but, oh, Trump bad, economy bad, because of Trump, because of tariffs. They're sitting on this story right here. That we may have had unprecedented growth in quarter 2. I mean, this is what we had in the 1980s. This is what we had in the 1950s. This is some of the best growth that you can possibly imagine. Right? Hope you guys saw that one because you all keep saying, hey, it just goes black. All right. This is all very good news for Bitcoin. Very good news because how it works is early economic expansions bring in liquidity. Money is sloshing around like gin in a freshly shaken martini. Risk assets like Bitcoin, well, they start to look tempting. And the cash that's been hiding in money markets, man, that's going to start shaking like those children in, what was it, Sound of Music when the storm was going on and they had to go run to Maria's room. That's what happens with that cash that's hiding in money markets. It's going to come running out. How much money is in money markets right now? Do you know? When you hear somebody being bearish, ask them that question. How much money is in money markets right now? Do you know? Because I guarantee you they don't know. Let me show you this here. You seen this headline? Investors with $7 trillion in cash on the sidelines. $7 trillion in cash in money markets, according to BBVA. Parked in cash funds. That's a money market. Did you know that? What's that money doing there? Because I'll tell you what, that amount of money in a money market, that is not normal. That is not normal. You think that money is going to stay there forever? No, it is not going to stay there forever. Why is it there? This is why. Look at this. What is a money market paying? See this number? 4%. It says 7-day yield on the Fidelity money market. This is a super safe investment, a super safe place to park your money. And what it's saying here is based on the last 7 days, if it continues to do as it's done, it will pay 4% for the year. 100% liquid. You can get your money out of this anytime you want because it's a liquid asset. You don't have to go through the process of selling it or anything like you would a treasury bond. And it has no duration risk. If you don't know what that means, I'm sorry, but I don't have the time to get into it right now. It has no interest rate risk, and it's going to earn you 4%. Why in God's name would you go into anything speculative right now? The answer is you're not. Because remember the 4% rule. All you do is just earn 4% on $1 million. You're going to have $40,000 a year in perpetuity. That's enough to live. That's where all the money is right now, guys. $7 trillion in money markets. And we don't even need all that money to come into crypto. We just need 5% of that, which would be like $350 billion to come to crypto. And that would make some massive, massive changes. All right? So institutions are piling in right now because you see the ETFs are loading up. I mean, all this money that's sitting right now, not just in money markets, but also stable coins. Why do you think it's there? All right, $61 billion right now in USDC, $153 billion right now in Tether. What's that money doing there? Anyone want to tell me, huh? I mean, if you weren't planning to move it into crypto, you would probably move it out of the stable coins, right? Yes. So, theory goes, we're at the start of something massive. Now, it's not the when Lambo hysteria that you had back in 2021. This is more of a slow, violent awakening. Imagine if Godzilla had a LinkedIn profile. That's what's going on here. We're going to experience a 10x in Bitcoin? No, it's not going to happen. It's probably going to do like a 2x. I mean, it was able to do 10x's way back when it was cheaper than a Netflix subscription. But can it get to 128K quickly? Yes. 180K? Yes. 250K? Possibly. I wouldn't rule it out. But Fundstrat, Vanik, Standard Charter, these people basically get paid to be boring. Even they think Bitcoin is about to kick a hole through the ceiling. They factor in the M2 money supply expansion, institutional adoption, and a collapsing resistance to risk. And yeah, stage is set. So, we're not at the top. Not at the top. We're not even mid-cycle. We're still lacing up our boots and arguing over who forgot the snacks. The hike is about to begin. And if this theory is even half right, you want to be holding crypto before the bus leaves the station and turns into a rocket ship full of screaming lunatics. Now, a few other things I wanted to point out here. Let's see here. This is something that Trevor said. No respect to you. No disrespect to you, Trevor. Respect to you and all. But you say, hey, Richard Hart, trust me, the people are shaking out. Not when the 10-year treasury is over 4%. Now is not the time to be pulling any moves here of deploying SAC funds. So I wanted to show you this here, guys. Does this look like a dead coin that's getting all these stakes? Does this look like it's doomed? I don't think so. Hey, let's also look at this here. Does that look like a wrecked chart to you? And to me here, this looks like it's about halfway down from where it was at the top. And it says, oh, it's down 99%. Maybe from the top, but it still looks like it's up quite a bit from the bottom. So when people are saying, well, this chart looks bad. I don't see a bad chart here. This looks like everything else in crypto right now. I mean, to be right here with a treasury yield over 4%, we are incredibly lucky where we are at right now. If you don't think so, just can't help you. Just can't help you. Now, here's what you got to do. You got to hold strong. You got to keep holding the line because you don't want to look back at this time and think to yourself, man, I had it and I let it go. A lot of people are going to be doing that. That's all I got for today. Cairo out.